Hello, I'm Loretta Zajac, and welcome to the Speech Diaries. 2024 did not start out to be a year of reflection. It had been just over 4 years since my son Michael had died, and it was time to move forward. I wanted to honor him by sharing my stories with the world, many of which included his legacy. The stage was set for me to give a speech at a women's conference in May. I was booked at two different festivals to read my story, The Dandelion Princess, to children. And I was well on my way to beginning my YouTube channel, this one, The Speech Diaries. Then January happened. My daughter-in-law's father passed away. He was a wonderful man and someone who Michael respected very much. I experienced a different type of loss. My best friend, my ride or die, decided to sever ties with me. And our family was still grieving. It had been a year since my husband David had passed away. I found myself in a state of mourning, and like most, I cried. I spent time remembering all the wonderful memories that we shared, and in some instances, sent flowers. Ironically, the one loss that haunted me the most was not due to death. It was the collapse of an extraordinary friendship. I was left dumbfounded, stunned. That's when I began to reflect not only about my past, but about my character. What had I done? What had I said? Can I fix this? I tried reaching out to my friend a few times, but she wasn't ready. After a few months, still nothing. This impacted my life significantly because we shared everything together. Holidays, we'd go for drives, our feelings, we would vent to one another. So not having her there in my life was a big void. I tried moving on and adjusting to life without her, but it was impossible. I would wake up thinking, okay, I've got this. I'm going to be okay. I'd go about my day, and then all of a sudden, I'd find myself sobbing and wondering and worrying and caring and wanting to rectify everything, drowning my sorrows in my room, looking at social media posts about friendship, drinking a Coke Zero, and eating a bag of chips, a family-sized bag of chips. This lasted all through the summer, and no matter how hard I tried to get over this feeling of loss, I just couldn't do it. There were a few hopeful moments, and I thought, okay, we've got this. But the door kept on closing. In my mind, I couldn't understand why. I mean, we were really good friends. And then I came to the conclusion maybe I wasn't that much of a friend to her. And I validated this summation by telling myself over and over again that there was no way I would treat anyone like that, much less a friend. Yeah, famous last words. Here's where it gets interesting. This was in September, and I was on my way to a Toastmasters meeting on Thursday evening. And wait a minute, let's go back a bit to give you some content. In the 1970s, I was married to a man named John. John worked at a factory called Arcan Eastern. They made shelving for businesses, but that's not important. There he met a man named Tom. Tom was married to Diane, and Tom and John became really good friends. Therefore, Diane and I met each other, and we became friends. We were so close that, in fact, at one time we found that we were both pregnant and expecting little girls. Once our daughters were born, Tom and Diane asked John and I to be Kim's godparents. In fact, they even named her Kim Loretta, which was the most wonderful gesture that I'd ever received in my life. I was so honored. I don't even like the name Loretta, but after Diane named her daughter that, I love it. Then we asked Tom and Diane to be Christina's godparents. Eventually, though, my marriage to John ended. But still, Tom, Diane, and I remained very good friends. We would go to dinner at each other's houses. We would go on vacations together. And of course, our children played with each other. This went on for a long time. Then I did something stupid, something that caused a rift between us. I felt so guilty, it was hard for me to face the truth. Now, let's get back to the story. I was on my way to my meeting when I decided to go to Swiss Chalet for dinner. On my way out of the restaurant, I see sitting at another table my goddaughter Kim. I was so excited to see her. Then when she saw me, she got up, we hugged, we talked for a bit. I asked her how her mother was doing, and we exchanged information. That really made me feel good. On my way home that night, I began to reflect more and came to this stark realization. Remember when I said that I would never treat anyone the way my friend treated me? I did. I treated Diane that way. Because I was so embarrassed by my actions, I decided to take the easy way out, and I ghosted my dear friend. She didn't deserve that. She was a good friend. I was a coward. I felt so guilty and so ashamed and sincerely remorseful. I had wasted so much time. I had robbed myself of the wonderful times that we shared together. And I kept on thinking of all the memories that we could have compiled upon the ones we already had. That encounter with my goddaughter had taught me a very valuable lesson. It was around mid-October when Kim, my goddaughter, reached out to me, and she told me that her mother only had a few days left to live. I knew what I had to do. I had to apologize to my dear friend about the way I treated her, about what I did, and more importantly, about not reconciling sooner. I remember walking into the hospital room, seeing her lying there. She was frail, but lucid. I went over to her and I said, "Hey, Diane, it's Loretta." Loretta. She was genuinely happy to see me. I talked a little bit, and finally, I mustered up the courage to apologize. Her response, her response to me was incredible. She looked up at me and she said, "Don't worry. Only remember the good times. That's what's important. It's okay." A few days later, my beautiful friend Diane drifted into eternal peace. The words that she shared with me that day gave me the greatest gift I have ever received: forgiveness. She set me free from guilt, shame, self-loathing, and opened the door for change. Overall, 2024 opened my eyes to a renewed sense of grace and a greater appreciation for all that I have experienced that year. In May, I gave a speech at a women's conference that was well received. The football coaches at St. Thomas More High School honored my son Michael by presenting the Mike Zajac Memorial Award. I was there to see the wonderful celebration. In August, I began this YouTube channel, The Speech Diaries. I reconnected with my goddaughter, Kim, and because of that meeting, was able to reconcile with my dear friend, Diane. In October, my fourth grandchild, Kaizen David, was born, adding more joy and adventure to our lives, which brings me to my greatest joy: spending time with my family, with those I love. Although my relationship with my bestie has paused indefinitely, I know in my heart that I can move forward knowing that I was a good friend to her and I will always love her. All the memories we shared will be fond, wonderful, and will bring a smile to my face. Probably the biggest lessons that I've learned from my year of reflection is that life is too short to be bitter. Life is definitely too short to be angry. Plus, it's never too late. Yes, it's great to have friends around you, and I have many amazing friends. But it's more important, I think, to be true to your core values, your beliefs, and your morals. Also, do the things that you enjoy doing, that make you happy and you smile. In other words, be your own best friend. Why not? And as my own best friend, I felt it important that I deem 2024 as a year of reflection, leading the way for 2025 to be a year of transformation.